video is a review of all of my adventures that I got up to in 2012. 2012 kicked off with a combined work and leisure trip to London. I managed to bag a first class ticket on an all-stops train. Having not been to a musical, Wicked was my choice of entertainment on the first evening, and I would highly recommend it. The British Museum is home to some incredible artefacts, including the Rosetta Stone, which was the key that unlocked the deciphering of Egyptian hieroglyphs. Next on the itinerary in London was a guided tour of the Palace of Westminster, both the House of Commons and the House of Lords. But man, was it cold. I'd also always wanted to straddle the Greenwich meridian for quite some time, so despite the winter weather, I went in search of 0 degrees longitude at the Royal Observatory. March saw me return to London to take part in a Britain's Got Talent flash mob event in Trafalgar Square. A Google whack is where you put 2 words into the search bar of Google and you only get one result. End of March, April time, I booked an adventure weekend. I certainly wouldn't recommend doing the water activities at that time of year in the UK, but everything else was a blast. Getting a tattoo had always been on my bucket list for nearly a decade, but being needle phobic, it took me quite some time to pluck up the courage to get it done. 2012 was the year London hosted the Olympic Games, and I was fortunate to get a ticket to the opening ceremony of the stadium. I really do like most sports, and with a Snooker Legends event on my doorstep, thought it rude not to go and see some of the best players ever to pick up a snooker cue. The Coldplay gig in Coventry at what was then called the Ricoh Arena was an audio and visual extravaganza. "2012, just like 2022, was a Jubilee year. Essentially an excuse to throw a party in my garden for friends and neighbours, complete with live music as entertainment. I took a quick trip to Cologne in Germany. Unfortunately it was for a funeral, but I did get a few touristy activities thrown in. This is the view from the top of the Blackpool Tower, taking in 2 of its 3 Victorian piers. Dave Gorman is a brilliant English comedian, presenter and writer, and he also kindly came out after his show for a few photos. Managed to bag a ticket to a flagship music event organised by BBC Radio 1 in Hackney, London. 10 years on, this event is actually being hosted in my home city of Coventry. July and August was Olympic times, and the torch came through the city. Not only as the Ricoh Arena was a venue for some of the football matches, but also the torches were actually made in Coventry. A fortuitous turn of fate saw me go to the gold medal final of the men's football between Brazil and Mexico at Wembley Stadium. I was really looking forward to some excellent football on show from Brazil, but seemingly that was left in the dressing room. They lost 2-1. For something completely different, and at the recommendation of a friend, I spent a weekend at what could be best described as a New Age retreat. I did go again after this first trip, but to be honest, it's not really my style, though I'm glad I tried it. In September I played host to a visitor from Germany. I did the things that I wouldn't normally do because they're on my doorstep, and you always think you got plenty of time to do things on your doorstep. We visited Warwick Castle, Stratford upon Avon, Cotswold Falconry, the Battle of Bosworth site, and the place in Leicester where archaeologists had just found the remains of King Richard III underneath what had become a car park. One of the more bonkers things I got up to in 2012 was to go up in a stunt plane. Not only did we do a barrel roll and a loop-the-loop, I also briefly took over the controls and got to fly the plane too. The barrel roll was excellent. Loop-the-loop, not so much. I'm no cook, and it's all I can do to boil an egg, to be honest, but under the supervision and tuition of a friend, I cooked a Thai green curry from absolute scratch. I closed the year out with an amazing trip abroad, a guided 2-week tour from Delhi in India to Kathmandu in Nepal, and a further week tagged on the end spent in Thailand, mostly in Bangkok. Nepal was my favourite, and December the 18th, 2012 currently still holds the accolade for being the most exciting and adventurous day of my life. Not only did we have an up-close and personal experiment with an elephant that lived next door to our accommodation, but also got to see plenty of wild animals too. Some we needed to run away from. A rhino, and then, some 20 minutes, half an hour later, a bull elephant in must. Another of the more adrenaline-fueled activities I signed up for in 2012 was to go paragliding in the foothills of the Himalayas. Absolutely amazing, but I was suffering from mild delhi belly at the time, so I asked my pilot to be very gentle with me. After 2 weeks full on activity every day, from the Delhi to Kathmandu trip, my last week was spent in Thailand, and it was less full on by comparison. Still visited the main sites of Bangkok and surrounding area, including taking a motorbike taxi. If you don't want to spend an eternity stuck in traffic, it's the only way to get anywhere in a reasonable amount of time. My last full day before finally heading back home to the UK was spent on the beach and in the sea at Pattaya, where the water was as warm as bathwater. And that brings my 2012 to a close.